morning, everybody. It's January 20th. Many of us were hoping something would happen today other than what did happen. And so I'm sure everybody's feeling let down. And my guides immediately started talking. They started talking in the middle of the night. All right, so right after the event that happened 2 months ago, there was an image that my guides gave to me. I referenced it before, but it was this beautiful green, lush, gorgeous future, I guess I could say, that we were moving towards. But there was in between this kind of narrow strip of turf that had been cut away. And it looked like in between us and the turf, which we might just have to step in with one foot and then the next foot would be on the grass that shows you how wide or how narrow it actually was. It looked as though that was going to be just an easy hop, right? So I got that image on the 6th in the afternoon. Just a couple of weeks ago, I thought, let me look at that image again, because very often that's how my guides talk to me. They show me something and then I go back to the image and it's changed. And in fact, it had changed and we were in the gap. We were most of the way through the gap, but we were in it. And we were in it deep. So instead of it just looking like fairly solid dirt, muddy dirt, it actually felt like quicksand. And so we were in it, and I'm just checking this to make sure that it was meant for everybody, that it wasn't just me that was experiencing it. So this was describing what we are all going through. All right, and at that point we were more than half of the way there when I looked, but we were in it up to our eyeballs, okay? And then a few days ago when I looked again, we were down in it, like down in it, and really close to the other side. In the middle of the night, last night, I woke up and looked at the picture and our faces were out of the dirt. Now, I hesitate to interpret too much, but what my sense was, if we were going to go all the way under the grass, staying in the dirt, that would be very hard to come out of. The fact that we had moved up as a collective and I could feel the grass, I could see, and if I tipped my head up, I could breathe. That felt very encouraging to me, that we were at the other side and coming out of the gap. Okay. Now, at the very beginning of all of this, my guides were very, very, very clear with me, and they said that this is a much, much, much bigger thing than just the little piece of the puzzle that we have in this country. It's much bigger than just our little Orangina problem, okay? And so, you know, that's something to consider too, that just because things did not do what we thought they were going to do today, that may just be because we're just one piece of the puzzle, all right? Again, as I said in the beginning, we're dealing with a very hard, radical energy that's been on this planet for a long time. And it's almost like we're looking at the yard full of dandelions and we are focusing on one dandelion, you know, but the game that's being played is that whoever is coming in, however this is going to happen, is the whole yard of dandelions is getting pulled. I don't actually pull dandelions because they're good for the bees, but just using it as an example. All right, and then finally the timeline thing. A few weeks ago, I was watching Libby from Master Tarot, who I really like, and she was saying that she had been feeling, I can't remember how she described it, but she was feeling odd. And I thought, wow, that's really crazy, because I'm feeling this same feeling, and I realized it was that we were back on the correct timeline. Now, a lot of people feel like we are not on the correct timeline, but my guides shared it with me like this. Say you're on a road trip, okay? You're on a road trip and the car, you get lost. You get completely lost. You have no idea where you are. Your GPS doesn't work because there's no signal. Of course, nobody has a map. That's, so retro. And so everybody's freaking out, right? Nobody knows what to do. And then somebody says, wait a second, forget the moss growing on whatever side of the tree it grows on. I remember seeing a road a little way back, and so you guys turn around, everybody turns around, and start taking that road. And as you start to drive down the road, there's a moment where suddenly you all know where you are, right? And you know how to get back on track, all right? So when I got the information from my guides that we were on the correct timeline, that was not wrong, okay? What becomes problematic is when we think we know what has to happen in the physical world that will reflect what we're seeing in the energy world. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was visiting someone in the ICU, and he was very proud of the fact that they had taken him off of blood thinners. He said, my blood is perfect. That's why they took me off of the blood thinners. His nurse was in the room too, and she said, actually, we took you off of the blood thinners because you're at risk of hemorrhaging. So what we're doing, and I know because I'm doing the same thing, we are measuring and saying we're wrong when we look at the physical events that are taking place, okay? My guides are very clear that we are on the right timeline. There are still things going on that we don't know about. And when we get too focused on one event or one outcome, then that's what leads to suffering, really. That's what leads to heartache and suffering. So it's okay to predict. It's okay to say this might happen, but if it's going to make you sick, if it doesn't happen the way you kind of imagine it will, it's kind of like, I keep using some examples, but anyway, it's kind of like a little girl who's watched nothing but knight in shining armor movies, right? And that's how she thinks it has to be. When she falls in love, it's going to be somebody sweeps her off her feet. And we are fed this from the beginning of our lives, little girls, right? And then when she really does meet Prince Charming, he's got a receding hairline and a paunch, and he doesn't have a castle, and he might drive a really ancient Ford Pinto, if those are even still around. I mean, and if she is too focused on the physical aspects of it, she will miss the fact that energetically, yes, he is her Prince Charming. All right, so keep the faith. Keep the faith. My guides are still saying this is not the end of the story. There's still a lot of things that have to happen. And we have to stop hanging all our hopes on one event happening or not happening, as the case may be. That is not helping anybody, including ourselves. So understand the bigger work that we're doing here, again, is holding the energy of this vibration that we are moving into. We just don't know what we have to go through to get there. We don't know how much of this we have to go through to get there, but we're on the right timeline. That's what my guides are saying. And we are going in the right direction. That's all I can say, but my guides are very loud this morning. So I hope that that is helpful to you. Have a beautiful Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Celebrate that we had such a wonderful man on the planet for as long as we did. He was amazing. And take care of yourself. Okay. All right. Talk to you soon.